My name is Katrina Stahl, and I went to the Gambia. The Gambia is West Africa. It's in the middle of Senegal. I went there 2014. I just came back now in 2016. I wanted to travel a little bit. I wanted to go help. I decided it was my time to go out into the world and do something different for a change. In the Gambia, there are about 6 major tribes. The one that I was assigned to was Mandinka. That was also the language I learned, which was Mandinka. I lived in a Mandinka village. But there's Mandinkas, Wolofs, Serhules, Jolas, and a few others. Mandinkas they tend to be very traditional, and I lived in a smaller village way outside, inside the bush. It was about mid-country in the Gambia. So if you looked at the map, you would see the far side by the ocean, and then where the country ends, I was right about in the middle. The Gambia is a Muslim country. It's about 95% Muslim. They have a few Christians. Those are the main religions. And so while living in the Gambia, it was a completely different experience. I'd never lived in a Muslim culture before. But you can see God everywhere. Like everywhere you go, it doesn't matter where you are in the country. You can just feel it, see it through the people. You're always reminded, because there's prayer 5 times a day, so if you do forget, you will be reminded that you should pray and that God is there. There was tons of conversations daily about religion. They are open to learning about Christianity. I was also open to listening and learning about the Muslim culture and religion. But yeah, it was a very different experience. It was good. The people, they're very kind, they're very nice, super friendly. For some reason, they assume anyone who's traveling there is Christian, especially from America. They just assume everyone in America is Christian. So they'd come up to me and be like, "You're a Christian?" And I'd be like, "Yes." And that's how we always got started. They already assumed you're Christian. They'd always say you're a Christian, and that it was an easy conversation to start and easy to get into talking about different things that you're observing, like the family structures. That was easy to talk about because they're allowed to have more than one wife. In America, they'd always be like, "You don't like having more than one wife," and you just start talking about different things like that. While I was on the ground in Gambia, I was working on a few projects. The very first project I had to do was just to see what my village needed. So that was 3 months of just hanging out in my village, talking to different people, observations, going to the health center, going to the school. And then also I did a students' health club, a men's health club, and malaria education throughout all of Gambia. Also too, working with a population that is illiterate was different. I didn't even think about the fact that people can't read and write in the world. So a lot of my things I thought like, oh, we can have school or like teachings and like pamphlets and stuff like that, which doesn't work for people who can't read or write. So then you had to be creative and come up with other things like murals, a lot of hand gestures. Learning the language was a big part of being able to be successful in teaching about health. Since malaria is a health problem, it's one of the major problems of the Gambia. That's something that I was really interested in and did a lot of work with. So it was just really important to always go around and talk about, how malaria is caused, and also do just a lot of education. And the kids will go home and tell their families, which is nice because like families share a lot of communication that way, like they're always talking. So people in the Gambia, they have a lot of children, gigantic extended families. There are children everywhere. I always say, how do you have enough food for everybody to eat? Because there's so many people. And they always said, God will provide. And that's their answer for everything that they do. When someone passes away, they're sad, but they say he's returning back to Allah, he's going back to God. Everything, you'll hear about God so many times a day, which is different than the United States. You won't hear that at work. You won't hear that mostly anywhere unless you go to church or you're around people who also attend church. But in the Gambia, they're not afraid to talk about God. It's all the time, everywhere. You're always reminded. You can feel it in nature too, just being there. It's it's a different experience. The way it made me feel was, it just reminded me that it is okay to always talk about God. It's not a problem. In the United States, we're so hush-hush, separate everything, and they bring everything in life together. going in and seeing actual reality and what was going on in people's understanding of the world, that's what I had to change everything I thought before I came. I see myself as a missionary type of person because I'm very friendly, I'm very open to people, and that's what starts a lot of conversation. It makes people comfortable. They're not going to come to you, they're not going to talk to you if they don't trust you. So what it takes to be a missionary is you have to be out there with people and be open and take the time to get to know people. That's the very first step. People will open up to you once they get to know you and they feel comfortable. You can't get any work done and you can't have those crucial conversations without being open and out there. You have to be outside. I didn't spend my time in my hut reading books or like trying to study the language. I had to go out and make mistakes and practice. The best way to do it too is to just go out and be vulnerable. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's difficult, but you can't get as far as you want to or get in there if you don't do it. So the church is able to make an impact on different countries through missions by bringing people, and it also takes a lot of resources. Unfortunately, there's a lot of need in the world. And so by sending people and by people going out, though, it gives a different perspective. Some people have a very small perspective of the world and of America because they've never left. And you being able to go, you're able to give knowledge and a different point of view, and just to get people thinking or open, or there's so many things that can happen from it. You never know the full extent to your work. My name is Katrina Stahl, and I'm a missionary.